Yo, 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 Tony Ricca here. Yo, and oh, yeah, back, baby. Yeah, independent wrestling circuit and cameos. Oh, yeah, yo, yo, yo. More questions. Oh, yeah, more answers. Oh, yeah. Let's get to them. Oh, yeah, this is awesome. Yo, yo, yo. All right, let's go. All right, let's get to it. All right, the first question. Oh, yeah. All right, all right. What are my thoughts? Okay, oh, yeah. All right. On actually the career of the Undertaker, and have I met him? So actually, what an excellent, really excellent legacy that he has, and just wrestler in general, just what he's done for 30 years, just it won, just really, just one company. I mean, that's just incredible. You don't see that. You really don't see that. And he's kind of like just the longevity of it, the fan support. I mean, you have to look at all that going on. I mean, him reinventing himself different times, different things, and just different ways, but just still being himself. And the fans, I have to say, really the support, of many fans that just kept that going, and a company that kept him, that just wanted him, and you don't see that, and I just have to say that he's had obviously an excellent run for so many years with that company, so I have to say obviously he's one of the top legendary figures in wrestling, and you have some of your superstars basically, with your superstars, that your iconic ones that are out there, of course, but with the amount of time he put in, it's really hard to kind of separate him from anyone. He's kind of when you say stand alone at the top, yeah, there are some other ones that have the name, basically may not have the amount of years with the one company. But when you have one person with one company, I mean, that means a lot, and especially for that company and for that fan base. So that I think that's just great, and it's legendary. So, and have I met him? Actually, really, when you wrestle, like, you meet everyone, and I never hung out with him. I know, friends that have, of course, but really, you kind of like, even in wrestling, a lot of the guys, like, we're all not hanging out with each other. At times, sometimes this one and that one, you do different things, go out and eat, whatever it is. But really, have to say, kind of just go about your business, and then you move forward, and go to your kind of just like your. The next area you're going to be wrestling at, working, and pretty much that's kind of always the way I looked at it in business. But it's as a business, and from a wrestler, and just watching the other wrestlers themselves, they pretty much do the same thing. I mean, you're not practicing, training with each other. I mean, you could, when you go to your training center or whatever that you work at. There could be some of the guys there, but really it's not the same guys, but sometimes you do see, a couple of them pop in. So, you might wind up running into them, but you're not working on anything that you're going to be doing during a match. So basically, you don't know sometimes what they have for you and what you're going to do when you get out to the ring. So anyway, it's kind of like that, but, met so many, and it's just, like I said, I haven't just hung out with him or anything like that, but I heard he's a great guy, so an excellent person, so which is great. Now the next question. Oh yeah, all right, now let's go with this, because this is actually this is pretty good, because did I enjoy actually the storyline with what's it, Kane, Undertaker, and Paul. And so again, back to wrestling, doing your thing. So as I'm wrestling, doing things, I wasn't really like watching and kind of paying attention too much. But some things that are going on And I did, I do remember all, some things like that with that. I remember Kane and, obviously, the brother, so the Undertaker's brother and obviously you have Paul there. And so it's kind of like, that whole mix and everything, basically that storyline going back and forth and the fans, which just, really, that's what drives everything. And in wrestling. And it's like that just makes more of the story and it builds the storylines for that. And sometimes they change, it depends on sometimes the way the fans, react toward it. And it's like, so it's like, okay, when, whoever's, you're thinking and putting some things together, to tweak it up a little bit, change some things around. And that's kind of how it is. But, not for anything. It's just, it's one of those things where, they put something really well together, to create that, I mean, that was a long, I know that was a long haul with all of them, kind of, running through the storyline and just, running through it. I mean, we've seen storylines with many different people, but again, the fans, the support, for this and what they wanted, it's kind of, they gave them what they wanted and, and it's just, they wanted more and they were getting it. So I have to say, I thought that, they did that pretty well, fairly well with that. And, again, I didn't see the whole thing. I know bits and pieces of it, but I do know, it did go really well. And when things do that, you just stick with it and you continue, until you have to, change directions. But, so I have to say, yeah, absolutely. They've done a great job with that. And the next question, all right, so it comes down to, oh yeah, all right. So, what's my favorite sport beside wrestling and MMA, and what team? So, let's go with team. I'm like in the Philly area, because I get to the sport, right, the next thing. But like when it comes to like a team, it's hard to say because again, I'm in the Philly area, like I said, and, I like the Phillies, MLB, and, of course, Eagles won the Super Bowl, so we're, of course, NFL, American football, stuff like that. So, you have NHL, the Flyers, NBA, the Sixers, stuff like that. So, obviously these are teams that I like. I do like other teams too. But, I stick to that area because, I've been called to do autograph signings, for the Sixers, I've done it there, I've done it for Raw, done it there. So different things. So, they call and then, right there. So, which, again, it's a supports, it's a very supportive, area, just for what, we all do together. And, but I will say, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. They're in the AFC because the Eagles are in the NFC, but I also like the Green Bay Packers too in the NFC. So, but, Philly, I got to stick with Philly and I won the Super Bowl too. So, Eagles, oh yeah, but anyway, but when it comes to the sport, you're going to love this one, tennis. And, just watch, like what's going on in tennis. These guys are incredible athletes, and it's just watch them. I love golf. I love all the sports. Listen. I mean, I love it all. Boxing, you name it, I love it. Powerlifting, bodybuilding, stuff like that. I mean, I love it all. But here's the thing: tennis, you have to see the conditioning. Like obviously, you had the big three, like Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. And Djokovic is still playing, and then there's Alcaraz and also Jannik Sinner as well. They're your top two tennis players today. Djokovic continues to just be the GOAT in tennis. So watch it, watch what he's done, watch what they're doing now, and you're gonna love it. And that's why I love tennis. So I give you the yo's because you know what? That's just the way it is. Oh yeah, keep coming with the questions. Oh yeah, yo.